Thank you, everyone, for coming to this session. In this session, we're going to talk about Alibaba security. Okay. So this is a very hot topic in a lot of organizations and among our customers. It's very important to understand what's available out there to secure your cloud environment and how to use them following the best practice. So my name is Oliver Zhang. I'm the Senior Solution Architect in Alibaba Cloud ANZ team. I've been working with the team to help customers to build and secure the environments. So if we look at Alibaba Cloud's security offerings, so these security services that you can see on the screen come out of Alibaba's 15 years of experience in securing our own applications and environments. So from the bottom level to the top, if we start looking at each layer, the network layer, we've got Anti-DDoS, which prevents the denial of service attack and mitigates the threats. And then the VPC, ACL security groups to provide the fundamental segregation and segmentation of the customer environment and also between the customer applications. And then move up one level, the host and application level, we've got Server Guard, which secures the individual server, the virtual server, the physical server. And then we also have a very critical service, very important service, Web Application Firewall, which secures the applications and the either the mobile or the website applications. And it's very, very versatile. We're going to have a deeper look just in a few minutes. And then another layer up, which is the data layer. So we're pretty much looking at encryption, the HSM, the hardware security module, the key management services, and then the SSL, where users can configure and manage their own certificates, and then use them on various servers. And then on the very top, it's a part of the risk management solution. So currently we have one service available. It's called Threat Detection Service, also known as Situation Awareness. We will also have a sort of like overview on this one as well. Other than what's listed here, Alibaba also have other security services which will be released in the next few months. And please keep an eye on this. Then on the right-hand side, Alibaba Cloud also offer for customer that has requirement for a managed security solution. We will provide end-to-end, 24/7, all year round managed security. And we can have a look at the details. Right, now, for the rest of the webinar, we're going to spend some time on these five services, and starting with Anti-DDoS. So what's different from the Alibaba Anti-DDoS offering? Comparing to the other major suppliers out there, we separate Anti-DDoS away from the CDN, and we can talk about the benefits here. One, it has exclusive IP. So each customer can have their own exclusive IP address, which will segregate their environment from the noisy neighbors that might, because if you're using Anti-DDoS, more than likely there are certain threats that you're facing, and from time to time, the website will get certain level of attacks. Hence, if someone else is running on the same node as you are, then more than likely your traffic, your attack will overflow. Or if your node gets into black hole, it will somewhat affect your the other customers. And then we provide Anycast to do the near source scrubbing. And then we have two modes of protection plans. One is the unlimited traffic protection. The other one is insurance, which we can take a look at the details. So this is the architecture of a CDN plus Anti-DDoS. So if someone sends the attack traffic towards this platform, as we can see, there are 3 websites running behind the same cluster. The cluster has a common interface. It's quite hard to distinguish, to find out which website is being attacked. Hence, hence to mitigate and make sure all the other websites that not attacked websites are working properly. So this is one of the challenges that the combination of CDN and DDoS is facing, which we can easily identify through a dedicated node for each user. And then the near source scrubbing center. So at the moment, we've got 4 scrubbing centers in China, but outside China, these are the scrubbing centers that currently have around the world. And they're in US, Germany, Singapore, Hong Kong. So the incoming traffic will first get sent to their nearest scrubbing center, clean up, make sure it's safe and no attack traffic inside, and then forward to the origin. We have 2 terabytes of mitigation capacity. They're all linked up using BGP. Also, Anycast is in place to help redirect the traffic to have the best performance. And then we can deal with all sorts of attack types like SYN, ACK, FIN, UDP, DNS, NTP, SSDP. And from time to time, users might have different requirements, thinking about what's the cost effectiveness and the cost benefit we're looking for. Is it 20 gig, 100 gig, 300 gig? Should I commit to a service or do a pay-as-you-go, by consumption model? Or it's a combination of both? Or what's the protection plan we need to buy? So in this case, we're very flexible. So users have the opportunity to choose what's the bandwidth they want to buy and the payment methods. Obviously, if you commit to a long term, you get more discount. But we're also very flexible. You can buy at an on-demand consumption base. And the difference between the unlimited protection plan and the insurance protection plan is for unlimited, basically, we will guarantee your protection up to the bandwidth you have committed. And doesn't matter how many times it happens during the month, we will always be there protecting. For the insurance plan, it's a lot lower in terms of the cost comparing to the unlimited plan. So basically, what we're offering is, by default, you can get protected for 2 attacks greater than 5 gig bandwidth. So each time you get an attack, start from the moment the attack is detected, for the next 24 hours, you're covered by this protection mitigation. And then after this, if there are 2 similar level events, you have option to, 1, increase your monthly commitment to a unlimited for this month, or next for 2 months, so that you mitigate all the immediate threats, and then dial down back to insurance mode. Or you can have an option to say, all right, I'm happy to stay on the insurance mode. I just pay for the additional attacks. It can be a pay-as-you-go as well. So very flexible. Next, it's also very important service for us. And inside the web application firewall service, we also provide very good anti-bot technology for the users. So this is the footprint of our WAF around the world. You can see we're almost anywhere on the major cities. the same technology, Anycast, is also used in the WAF service. The users will go to their nearest WAF service, and then the traffic gets filtered and then sent to the origin server. So we will get a demo running at the second half of this webinar, so that everyone can have a look what WAF looks like, reporting, the logging, and various services. And then I'm going to simulate a injection attack, and then we can see from the dashboard, real time, and the logging service to see what it looks like when the event happens. Well, then we have a look at who needs WAF. In our experience, obviously, we're a very big, so Alibaba Group itself is a very big e-commerce platform. So we've been dealing with this problem for many years now, and we're quite successfully prevented and mitigated it. Hence, now we're offering this solution for our customers. So in e-commerce, you'll find from time to time, probably very often, that your competitors or someone out there try to get the pricing information from your website, try to get the sales information. And they're doing it at such a low frequency, it's very, very difficult to detect. And then travel agency like OTAs, like the aviation industry, airlines, they're also facing similar issue. So someone out there is trying to get their ticket pricing, get their new sales programs, get their promotion, and then maybe they try to use some technique to withhold their promotion ticket and try to do something with it. So it might cause a lot of commercial loss for the customer. Hence, the solution is there to help them. And then the third category could be the sensitive information, like the real estate. If you hold the real estate website, and there could be users or agencies' phone number, name, address, and the details of other things like even credit card or IDs that you probably want to show it to people, but don't want anyone to come and just collect all of that information. And then nowadays, the skills, the tools, these advanced attack bots employee are very, very sophisticated. In certain scenarios, they even use real human to come and collect the data from you. So we have to use the user behavior analytics, the data analytics, and the machine learning to identify what's a human, what's a bot. This is the architecture, sort of like high-level architecture of the WAF deployment. From the left-hand side, you can see there is the web traffic, so someone using a browser to try to access your website or mobile app. And then you also can get the customer using iOS or Android try to access your product. And in the middle is Alibaba WAF. So Alibaba WAF, this platform, you can have a lot of optimization options. However, overall, it's just transparent platform as service that you can place in front of your application, either API or a website, Apache, LAMP, doesn't matter. And then all you need to do is to point your DNS to the Alibaba WAF CNAME. And then you on Alibaba WAF, you point the traffic, go back to the original server. And the origin server has the opportunity to allow only traffic coming from WAF, which I will show you where you can get the WAF IP ranges to add into your ACL. And that way, it's fully protected and isolated from the traffic from internet. So if we look at how WAF blocks the bot attacks, again, the traffic coming from two main forms, the browser or the mobile app. We use the IP reputation. Alibaba Cloud has information over a very large portion of the cloud service out there. So we have good intelligence on what IP range has good reputation and what doesn't. And from there, we filter the obvious attackers. And then the next layer is the bot protection. So in here, we have models and engines to filter the more attacks. And then human bot identification, it's like CAPTCHA, to filter out a lot of, so pretty much 80% of bots are filtered at this stage. And then there might be some very advanced bot or even like human trying to scrap the data from your site. At the last level, we could put in human expert to provide the advanced support for our customers. So in the end, after this, you can see the green arrow in the middle. It should be just the legit traffic coming out of web. For the IP reputation part, every day this data is from our network. Every day we're getting about 200 million brute force attacks, 20 million web hacking attacks, and then 1,000 DDoS attacks. So there is a good variety of information that we have in terms of security. Combining it with the ready available information from the internet, we have a very good database to provide this IP reputation. And then throughout our 15 years experience, we've built a very advanced model using entropy. So from these models, we can identify majority of the normal user and the bot attacks. And then in the gray area, let's say if we sort of think that's not normal activity, but somewhere it might be possible a human could do this, then we'll put a CAPTCHA on that. And then after this, based on the customer requirement, we can provide the managed security service to have incident response, training and consulting, incident reporting, like after incident, what happened, how did it happen, etc., etc. Customized incident review. And then 24/7, all year round, security operations center to provide a fully end-to-end managed security service. All right, next we can have a look at the web threat detection service, WTI. This is an automated tool. Basically, you activate the service on Alibaba Cloud. You put in a domain, say I want to scan this website for vulnerabilities. If the website belongs to this user, so we can see this is an Alibaba Cloud user, and the IP address behind it or domain behind it is on Alibaba Cloud associated with this user, so the service will start engaging with the user straight away. If not, there is an authentication or authorization process the user needs to go through, and then the vulnerability scan can start after that. Inside this vulnerability scan service, we have put in 2,000 security engines to scan together on the within the service, and then it has capabilities to scale very large size. So let's say if you have 1,000 websites that you want to scan at the same time, there's no problem. We will finish in a relatively short period of time. Because the cloud is all about scalability. So scaling vertically and horizontally is not an issue for the cloud. And then last but not least, after years of perfection, this product has very low positive findings on vulnerabilities like injection, file vulnerability, redirection vulnerabilities, etc., etc. So why do we need this service? If we look in the middle of this page, for an on-prem data center, a typical situation like this could happen. Let's say a zero-day advantage vulnerability was exposed to the world. Everyone knows about it. The admin knows about it. But typically, the admin needs to build a plan. All right, how do we mitigate this? Do we have a patching from the vendor? What sort of systems could be affected? And then prepare a plan. Make sure the plan is tested and it's working, and then deploy and verify it. Typically, it could take 10 days before a system is fully patched. And then for the hacker, they have the advantage in terms of timing, because they get the same information on day one, and then they can plan for attack. Just start their scanner or do what they do to find out who is vulnerable, how I can penetrate this network using the vulnerability I found. And then they can typically execute the attack within 1 to 5 days. So we see the difference is 10 days from the admin side, protecting the network, and 1 to 5 days from the hacker side. So it leaves a sizable gap for enterprises to have this protection when 0 day comes out. For WTI, because the scanning happens immediately as long as the authorization is done. So you can get the result in hours. It's industry level reporting will provide you good information. So typically, you could get what you need within 24 hours. And besides, if you're using WAF, so WAF has a layer to automatically provide mitigation for 0 day attack, like the WannaCry. We were able to block it on the network and WAF level. And Alibaba Cloud Threat Detection Service. It's also another very important service from our security suite. What it does is it's like a SOC, a Security Operations Center. So it provides monitoring, vulnerability management, reporting, configuration checking, incident response, and audit trail. So in many cases, when a customer starts taking a large consumption in the cloud, they have to think about very 4 common questions. How do I monitor the cloud in terms of the security? How do I make sure that I have the security expertise to handle the cloud security events? Because the technology might be different in the cloud. Is there any way to know what system in the cloud have what vulnerabilities? Is there a single point of view? Is there a place that I can get a report for my cloud resources, and hence I can make a report for my manager, for example? So it's all about the security information. To quickly demonstrate what it means using Alibaba Threat Detection Service, we can have a look at some real dashboards. So this example is is matching to the monitoring. So if you can see the dashboard, you can see there are 47 security events, 7 vulnerabilities found, 4 baseline rules, and then 5 uninspected assets. And then in the middle layer, you can also see that there are 5 top vulnerable assets. So probably straight away, these are the red flags. You need to have a look why these hosts have so many vulnerabilities. Are they patched? Is there anything you need to do immediately? And then on the bottom, you can see over time, let's say that's 2 weeks' time, what has changed? Which server vulnerability increased? Which server vulnerability decreased? Maybe that's a result of the security mitigation. And then on this page, you can see different types. So this is the vulnerability view. You can see the different types of vulnerabilities like critical, medium, low, and then the critical will be listed on the top. And then you can have search based on the vulnerability, based on the system type. And then on each item, you can see how many servers have this vulnerability and how many are urgent. And you can also customize your vulnerability types so that you focus on certain vulnerability and not so much on the others. So there is choice and there's certain level of customization you can do. And on this page, configuration baseline checking, there's something rather unique from Alibaba Cloud Service. You can specify baseline checking like the password. Is it long enough? Is it complex enough? Is it changed frequently on Linux, on Windows, or on the other systems? And then you can create the policies and apply them on multiple node groups. And this can be very useful for the security admins to manage their hundreds of thousands of virtual servers in the cloud. Last but not least, the notification is very important. So the cloud have this alerts, notifications capability. And this page shows the asset footprint. So if you look at this table, you can see there it's telling you port 22 TCP protocol is open on 5 servers, and port 8100 TCP is open on 4 servers. So you have a consolidated view on your security landscape inside your server farm. You can easily get this information without relying on third-party or customized tools to get this. And any changes, you can create notifications and alerts to inform the team. And as a part of the threat detection service, it also collects all the logs, common logs from Windows, Linux, all the operating system that we support. It provides log analytics, sorting, the collection, and have very good aggregation for the security team reporting. All right. Last feature we have a quick look about is the content moderation service. So this is from, again, Alibaba's own use case. We can basically, on a high level, we can provide the content moderation in terms of adult content, violence content, inappropriate content from videos, photos, text, images. So the primary form of the internet content. All this is API-driven, easy to integrate with. Okay, now let's spend some time to look at this demo we have. So I have prepared a demo environment. So if you want to have a look at the website, basically, there is a domain name called demo1.alibabacloudanz.com. That's the DNS. And then it points to our WAF. So WAF is a global service. Doesn't matter where you are, you will get to your nearest WAF access point. And then from there, it will get the traffic will get cleaned and sent to the backend, which is ECS. Probably you know about it. The Elastic Compute Service, it's virtual instance sitting in our Scenic VPC. It runs WordPress. It's a very, very standard image come out of the Alibaba Marketplace. So you can set this up pretty much, let's say the WordPress itself a few minutes. WAF takes some know-how to get it up right, but it'll probably do it in 10-15 minutes. So you should be able to get the basic up. And the domain name, obviously, everyone knows about how to configure the domain name. So yeah, let's switch out of the PowerPoint to have a look at the environment. So what I've got a command line window, which I have logged into another ECS, which is running in Sydney data center as well, but in different VPC. What it has is it has a simulation, sort of like SQL injection code on it. So in a moment, I will try to run it and simulate some attacks to the website. But before that, basically, if you want to access the website, feel free to do it. Just the WordPress or demo 1.Alibaba Cloud ANZ. You can see it's just a WordPress, not much on it. And this is the security dashboard. One of the security dashboard we have. We can see there's not much happening. A few visits because it's a demo website and 0 web attacks. And this is what the WAF looks like. This is one-day view. If we switch to real-time view, we can see not much has happened. So this is just in preparation for this demo. And these are the reports. So it shows that was yesterday. So yesterday there was a bit of activity happening. Everything was blocked. And the logging view showed there was a few clicks. So in terms of service traffic, not much happening. And then all these requests coming. So these are normal, no attack found, status 200, means normal result was returned to the user, etc., etc. And then the visualization is this part, which is quite handy when there's events happening. I can have a deeper explanation on the data visualization in just a moment. So this product information is where you can find information about your current WAF configuration. So I have purchased one top-level domain. So that means I have configured one top-level domain. But for my version of WAF, I've got enterprise version of WAF, overall 10 domains, top-level domains. And then I have got 200 meg of bandwidth. So this is clean bandwidth, means after the WAF clean the traffic. And this can be increased. Business level protection for 10,000 query per second protection. And then exclusive IP, I did not purchase any, but you could choose to purchase exclusive IP so that you have your own dedicated IP environment and not sharing it. And then this is very important for your ACL. So this is what you want to put on the origin server, like your ECS, excuse me, like your ECS, like your load balancer or any other origin server, so that they block out any other traffic but this. And it's also a best practice that you do not want to enable. So if you have an environment, you do not want to enable like email service, domain name service, or any other non-website service on your origin server. Because if you do that, there are ways to find out this, and then hackers can find out your real address and hence get to your origin server, which they can bypass the WAF. So just some best practice. On this dashboard, it might look a bit strange at the beginning, but once you get used to it. So on the left-hand side, you can see the timestamp, the how many clicks, basically, unique visitors, total visitors. And then is there any attacks? Web attack, so pretty much SQL injection and cross-site, etc. HTTP flood, precise access control. So different type, but what we're going to do today is we're going to simulate some SQL injections, which will come up here after we start it. And then this ring is basically a, so inside, at the very outside, it's the time. So this blue one is the time. And the first layer is how many visits, the gray line. Once I start the attack simulation, you can see in the inner circle, this web attack, you can see some red blocks, like if I show you, so this is today's data. If I show you yesterday's data. So there was a bit of activity yesterday. You can see at this point, at this point, for example, 190 visits, but 184 of them were attacks. And similar here. So 132 and 127 attacks. And they all come from one IP address in Australia. Okay. Let's try to send some traffic. So what's the timestamp right now? It's Singapore time, 11:38 in the morning. If we look at the real-time dashboard, there has been, I clicked on the website myself a few times. That's all, and probably a few users also accessed. And then in the reporting, the last SQL injection was yesterday. So I'm going to start. The tool is saying detect some kind of WAF. Yep, start scanning. Okay. So the real-time dashboard, excuse me, it updates about every minute. But the report, you see, the reporting has changed. My time is Australian time, so the WAF detect my local time zone is 14:39, which is right now. You can see the attack traffic has been identified, and all of them should have been blocked. So that's all today, right now. All of them are SQL injection. So in the end, there should be about 100 plus attacks coming from one simulation. In the overview, it should have changed as well. So here, the real-time updates relatively slower than the security reports, because web attack has much higher priority. And then in the logs, right, this is very, very important, because now from this logs view, you can see exactly what the attacker is doing. So in this case, I don't have very comprehensive attack strategy. It's basically trying to explore like any vulnerabilities. Can I inject some code to get the structure of the folder and then the password, etc. So very similar, but in a real world scenario, you will be able to see through this view what they're doing against which target, how, what's the time frame, how long each attack, and then you can based on this information, you can formulate a defense strategy to mitigate or counter. And then also there is a bit of useful information in this overview. So other than the abnormal traffic, you can also see where the traffic comes from. And then requests. So most of the requests from Australia, some from Singapore, Hong Kong, China, Malaysia, and then where they are visiting. So WordPress login, that doesn't look normal, right? If most of the traffic coming from the admin portal, yeah. So, but that's where I target the traffic to go. Try to do something on the admin portal. Most of the traffic is from my simulator, and this should have been done by now. So it says nothing found. What happened in the end basically is the WAF detect that this is a suspicious source. It outright blocks the IP, and the tool knows it's been blocked, and so it gave up. And if we go back to the data visualization now, the web attack traffic hasn't been updated yet. So yeah, now it's starting to come through. So you can see here, the time is 14:30 Australian local time. Between 14:30 and 14:45, there's been a bit of attack traffic from the Australian area. And the IP address is my simulator ECS IP. So it's very straightforward, and all of them are web attacks, not flood, not the other type. And the website, obviously, is still up and running. Yeah. All right. Let's see whether we have some questions.
Right. So we have numerous questions.
That's good.
So the first is, and it'll be quite simple for you, but how does WAF secure mobile applications?
Right. So WAF has its own SDK, software development kit, that you can integrate with your own iOS code or your own Android code.
Yeah.
Then using our SDK, you're able to encapsulate your traffic to authenticate the real user. Is it a simulator trying to pretend that it's a mobile app, or it's a real mobile app because it can run some code to identify its iOS.
Right. Question number 2. Is it true that DDoS Pro will be stopped to resell? Then DDoS Premium can cover both international and domestic.
So basically, we're adding a bit more feature on the DDoS Pro and make it DDoS Premium. And then this provides better protection because DDoS Pro sales model was slightly different. DDoS Premium give you DDoS Premium give you the insurance and the unlimited protection, which is very flexible.
Right. One of the listeners wants to know more about anti-DDoS protection on Alibaba Cloud Platform. Can you elaborate more on anti-DDoS protection?
Okay. Anti-DDoS protection, if I put it in a diagram, so if everyone go back to the slide, so I put on the screen, pretty much anti-DDoS can go between here. So it protects the large volume of attacks, and then the traffic gets filtered and then sent to WAF. But it also can sit in front of static content like the video, like pictures, photos, or CSS or anything like that. So it can work with the CDN as well. If you have like very specific question or just want to know more, you can always contact our team. So we're very happy to help.